Here we go again. Monday. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome in. Tonight, I am drinking this delicious, actually, sparkling wine from Peckham Cellars for three reasons. One, because they sent it to me. So, who doesn't love a freebie? Two, because I'm celebrating talking to Larissa on tonight's show. And three, because my husband Jamie passed his driving test. Yay! So cheers to those things. So it's a particularly anxiety-inducing week this week, isn't it? And if you are in the United States, which I found out quite a few of you are, then if you haven't voted via postal vote, please vote tomorrow at the polls. And unless you're going to vote for Trump, in which case stay at home. And in the UK, we're going back into a mandatory lockdown on Thursday. So unsurprisingly, this week is feeling a little bit blue. But we got through it in the summer, and we can get through it again. Just make sure you're kind to each other, be kind to yourself, and do something every day that you like doing, because that's how we're going to get through to the end. And I will be here throughout lockdown with your weekly dose of free chat show fun on a Monday. And you're always welcome into my house, unless you're a prick, in which case I will block you. So this series has, and I didn't mean for this to happen, but I feel like it's kind of amazing that it has. A lot of my guests have talked about issues and subjects that they maybe haven't ever spoken about publicly. And I'm amazed that they feel empowered to do so. So in the spirit of that, I would ask everyone to be considerate and generous and allow all of my guests the time that they deserve, and just to be aware that there may be some triggering discussion. So I can see Larissa is in the waiting room, so I'm going to do her intro, everyone. Is everyone here? Yes. Okay, good. So, Larissa is a Master of Neuroscience. I'm just going to let that sink in for a minute. Yeah. She is an actor, a filmmaker, a mother to her beautiful daughter, and of course, too many of you, she'll be the most recognisable as Giles Fashion in E4's hit series Skins. And it was there where I had the great pleasure of meeting and working with her for 2 years. And she went on to star as Kalila in Tormented, a horror comedy, which I was also in. Larissa decided to pursue education and studied a BA Honours in creative writing with psychology, which she converted into a master's at King's College in neuroscience. And since then, she has used her experience to set up a creative writing therapy group, and she says about the group, this group was created in order to give women a voice when they feel they have none. Through the use of creative writing, women are able to physically see the words that they have chosen. And this year, Larissa wrote, produced and directed short film Shift, an urban drama shedding light on the environmental impact of mental illness. And tomorrow, she's going to be a panellist at Medfest, which is an international medical film festival taking place at universities around the UK and the world to explore the relationship between medicine and film. So, it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to my colleague, my friend, inspirational woman, Larissa Hope.
Hi.
God, I'm so glad you got the memo about curly hair and a sort of like V-neck wraparound situation.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, I had plans for my onesie, but this came out.
From the waist down, I'm wearing my slouchiest jeans. So you're good. You're good. How are you? What are you drinking?
I have Prosecco.
Oh my God.
I know, and you have sparkly. I was like, there we go.
Wow,
we tuned into each other.
That was a real good memo. Cheers, girl. Oh God. I would normally have Prosecco, but Peckham Cellars sent me this thing this week, and it's really nice. I wish I knew more about it because I could help them out by talking about it, but I don't.
That's enough. So
I'm going to get straight on with it because I have 5 pages of questions because obviously everyone is really into this. So I'm going to start with the customary question on this show, which is, are you gel from Skins?
Yes, I am gel from Skins.
Okay, phew, we've got the right person, everyone. And so do you still get asked that?
Do you know what? I've had people that have come up to me and been like really polite, but yeah, I have like, yeah, it's still weird that like, how many years later is it now? What, 11 years later?
I think it's probably best not to think about it.
Yeah, I have people that recognize me still.
Yeah, and they come up to you and they say, are you gel from Skins? And do you say, yeah?
No, sometimes they can be like, I thought you were great on that show. And that feels really nice for some reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, or they say, just want to say that, yeah, I've seen you on TV. Or, but then, yeah, sometimes they're like, yeah, very rarely actually is it like, are you gel from Skins? It's more expressions in different ways.
Oh, that's nice.
It's nice, yeah.
Definitely, that's nice.
Yes.
So I guess my next question is, in your experience, what's it been like being associated with the show? But it sounds like it's been quite nice in terms of like public perception.
No, I think there's stages to it, and you know, you just don't. Yeah, there's always going to be pros and cons, I think, and I think I've been able to embrace it more and find a lot more joy from it later on in life than when we first did Skins, because we were teenagers, so that meant like the people that watched it were also teenagers, and teenagers expressing themselves and very hormonal, it can be like a recipe for disaster sometimes. So
yeah,
later on in life, I found that it feels okay-ish.
It's a shame in a way, because I guess at the time you're kind of like, this is the moment where you should be, you know, proud of it and happy about it and embracing it. But it is a weird thing across the board. Everyone I've spoken to, whether they are a Skins alumni or not, seems to have that thing of kind of being embarrassed about it while it's happening, or feeling in some way like that they are being exposed. And I think maybe it's to do with the drastic life change, as in like that you are now recognizable in some way.
Yeah, and I guess it's such a vulnerable thing, is to be exposed in a way that's not been, it's not your norm. So the exposure and the vulnerability that comes with it, it's a lot. It's overwhelming, I think, for some people. Some people adjust to it well, and then other people it can be quite exposing. I found it exposing and kind of overwhelming. So it was easier to kind of, and we were in it. I think, like even with relationships, sometimes when you look back, you're able to see things differently. I think when you're in it, it's just, it's madness.
Yeah. So part of the point of this series is to kind of reconnect with what you've been doing since then, and I'm going to just kind of integrate the questions into what I want to ask you, because otherwise I'm never going to get anyone's question into this. So I'm using the question to kind of be a mouthpiece for what I'm trying to say. So D Wico said, Sophie Gastelou wants to know, how did your life change directly after Skins?
I felt really exposed. So it was just not being able to feel like you can experience anything in peace a little bit. Like I'll never, it changed for the good in some ways. It opened, of course, but it also, I found it gave me really bad anxiety.
And that was that like immediately after?
Well, yeah, because you know what? I remember there's times when it's just like, it's not natural to have people staring at you. Like, and especially as a woman, when you feel there's so many reasons to feel vulnerable on this planet, and it just felt like we weren't, and I didn't feel prepared for it. So there wasn't any kind of transition period. It's like one day it was on, and then, so that was it. I guess I felt a lot more exposed in that sense. And in turn, that kind of was a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah. I feel like I
don't think party loads. We partied loads.
But I also don't. Yeah, that's what I mean. I feel like looking back on it, I think was I aware that I was actually being like negatively affected by some of that stuff? Because I think I was so convinced that everything was fine.
Yeah.
I never sort of thought, oh, actually, I'm feeling a bit, vulnerable about this, and I just thought, well, this must be just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is retrospectively what I've looked back on and been like, especially doing this show, been like, oh my God, actually it was okay that I didn't want to go out with no makeup on and be seen in a public setting, and felt weird. So now we're going to Wico's question, which is how did becoming a recognizable face change the relationships with people around you? And do you feel like you were forced to grow up quicker than another 17-year-old?
Yes. Yeah, because my job before that, I worked for 4 hours in New Look. I did 4 hours. That was it. And I remember, like, when I left, I thought they'd be sad, but they were like, you were actually shit. You're just a nice person. But the hours, that's unnatural. What, 12 hours a day at 17?
Yeah.
Crazy. That was nuts.
Also, we lived quite close to each other. So every time we got picked up in the morning, it was like, whatever it was, 5 in the morning. They'd come to me first and they'd come to you, and you'd always get in the car and you'd be like, don't talk to me. It's too soon.
I don't like the mornings. I hate them. I still do.
Okay.
Still do. Yeah.
Good. Well,
to grow up. Yeah, you deal with, like, that's adult shit. Leave that till later on.
What is, so SPN_5SOS wants to know, what's one thing that Giles' character has taught you about yourself or your life, if anything?
I guess believe in yourself when I think about it, because Giles was like, she didn't give a shit. She'd get up and perform with Clarinet in front of everyone. And even if she was, you know, I'm guessing missing her mum and had stuff at home like everyone else and at school, but she always just went hard. She did.
Yeah, and she also, like, there's been a few questions come through, like, was Giles the boring one? Like, but it was.
Yeah, because I felt like that sometimes. I was like, am I?
Yeah, but it's actually more like she had her principles in her head, and no one was gonna change that.
Yeah.
And every now and then someone would come in and be like, why don't you dress something like why don't you put something nice on? She'd be like, okay, but I'm gonna stand here and be like, I don't really like it.
100%. Because remember that scene where I looked so sexy and Ed made all of my dress, right? And I remember, and I was like, but even the way they wrote it was like, she didn't give a shit. She was like, quit staring at my tits, Chris.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, she didn't care.
Giving all of that. So you're right. She's badass. She didn't give a fuck. So are you allowed to swear?
Oh yeah.
I'll try not to though, but yeah, just
use whatever language comes to you. It's fine.
But yeah, no, you're right. So she taught me just to keep always, no matter what, she had a mission. She knew what she wanted to do, and she was going to execute that at any cost.
Yeah.
So.
A good lesson. Anissa Youssef wants to know what. Oh, I keep jumping ahead. Sorry, I'm too excited. Leo Cree wants to know, what do you feel watching yourself on Skins today? Because I've seen a lot of Skins alumni who are interviewed and they're like, oh God. Because, like, how would anyone feel watching actual footage of themselves as a 17-year-old, 18-year-old young person? And it's there forever.
Do you know what? I don't know how I would feel until I do it. And I think that's it, just being open to I'm not sure. I haven't watched Skins since, a very long time.
Righto.
I don't, so I think it would be, to watch it. I think it's something that I probably wouldn't know until, I'll give it a go though at some point. Maybe I'll try and I can get back to you.
Let everyone know how you feel. Okay, so Anna Youssef, we're going to jump from the end of Skins to kind of bring us up to date now, so that we've got some time at the end to go back over some Skins questions. But she wants to know, what was university like?
Oh my gosh.
Sorry that you have a master's in neuroscience.
I haven't finished it yet. I got pregnant.
Oh, okay. Well, still.
I'm going back now, though. I'm about to go back, complete my master's. My baby's turning 2 on Sunday.
Oh my God.
No,
2.
I know. She's growing up. I'll text you what I got her. I don't need to share everything. It was insane. I've never felt so vulnerable and scared for my life, but it was the best thing I've ever done in my life. Like, I was such a teacher's pet as well. I felt like I was Joe. I literally was like, I studied in the silent study, so no one could talk to me.
But is that because you loved it? Like, what was that? Was it because you wanted to achieve something and you were so like conscious of wanting to achieve and do well at uni, or was it just you absolutely loved your course? No, maybe tell people about what course you did as well, because
I did creative writing and psychology at Kingston Uni, and I think it's something about, because I came back at a later time in my life, like, you know, like how the system's so like, you go to school, sixth form, everything's so planned out without actually experiencing, you know, life. So to be able to come back later on, it just meant, it felt different. And it was like, I'm actively choosing this. And to actually be good at it was just the most rewarding thing in the world. Just, oh my God.
I've never understood that. And I was talking to my mum about it the other day. Why does education have to end when you're 19, 20? Like, why does sort of the kind of the societal idea of education have to have a cutoff point?
But you know why as well? Is because they tax it. So for a lot of people, it doesn't feel achievable. Back Bristolian Larissa at 17, do you think I would have ever thought about university? It was moving to London, that's somewhere that's more diverse as well. And understanding that, like, is at a cost for me. Is it a cost? But I totally understand for some people being told 60,000, because that's what it is now, 50,000 for 3 years. It's a weighing up, it's a risk, isn't it? But it's the most rewarding thing in the world.
And you would recommend it? I mean, clearly.
I just think knowledge is power. Like, allowing yourself to kind of actively pick something and commit to it. No one else benefits other than you. So yeah, I would. Anything that you believe in or truly love, to definitely. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, do it. Not everything.
It within reason.
Context.
Okay, ramble on Annie. This actually came through about 15 minutes before I came on live, so she got in there quick. So she says, my sister went to the same uni as you and graduated around the same time. As someone who didn't go to university but has an interest in screenwriting, would you say that going to uni helped you gain a better understanding of production at all? How are you enjoying the experience behind the camera?
It does not help you at all with behind production. Oh, there's a reminder. Sorry. But the skills that you develop in terms of writing and the way that you see things. But post, no. That's a kind of, that felt like more it had to be experienced, on job kind of thing. But in terms of just learning, I did in my creative undergrad, I did poetry. I learned how to do radio play. Then we did screenplay. And then I did an autobiography. They had so many options, and
what does that mean though? Like, in my head, I'm thinking, how can you teach a creative subject like that? I always think that about art. Like, how can you teach art? So is it just like exposure? Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's just they just show you all these different kind of tools, and you go in thinking this is the one thing that you love, and then you're like, oh my God, this is a whole new world. So it definitely give you access to kind of different worlds and marrying them. But it's a thing to weigh up.
And did you like when you
up about it? It's not it doesn't define you as a person. If you've not gone to uni, it's not the end of the world equally.
Yeah. But so let's say this person doesn't want to go to uni, would you be able to give some tools perhaps that would unlock a few creative writing experiences? Like listen to loads of radio plays or whatever.
Yeah, I have like books. So she was talking about production, right? Sorry, I forgot the name, I'm terrible with names.
Well, she's actually not told us her sister's name. This is Ramble on Annie.
Well, where is it? I have a book. So it's what's it called again? It's a screenplay book. So what I can do is I can have a look and I can recommend the book when I find it. There's two, but it's because I'm quite nervous. I can't think straight in terms of where it is.
That's okay. You don't need to. I found it. Good job. Well done.
Yeah, guys. There we go.
Oh, it's gone backwards for me. Shoot from the heart.
Shoot from the heart.
Interesting.
Diane Bell. Okay, so it's tools. Knowledge is power. So just even researching, finding books, and just following your favorite. If you've got films, look who's behind the scenes with the films. Watch your interviews with directors and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So
watch Shift.
Hold on, I'm not getting there yet. You've literally just jumped with the next question. God. Good God, woman. Right. Baby Doll Blues. If you had the chance to write the character of Giles again, what would you change, add, or leave out?
The dialogue. I changed the dialogue.
Is that to update it to now, or do you not think that it was like, I don't know what the word is, but it's
I just felt like
specific
there
to
was
the
some shit
time?
that we just wouldn't have said. So I
Okay.
think, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yes.
we didn't at the time as teenagers. I'm like,
The funniest thing I would say is in episode 1 where we're talking about going to Mad Twatter's house and getting a bag of spliff.
This is what I mean.
Why did we film that though? Why didn't any of us say, hold on a minute, this actually isn't anywhere near what we would say?
No, I feel like one of us must have done it at some point. It just, because
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So the dialogue I would change. The dialogue.
And do you think that's like, although there's I like, obviously I've been trying to unlock as much stuff as possible because that's what people want to hear, but I've forgotten so much of what was happening around then. But I remember there being like contributors, and Dan was a contributor at one point, like in terms of having young people and like ethnicity and diversity, or at least an attempt at it, onto the script writing team. But even then, I feel like so much of what we were saying was a bit like,
yeah, I would change the dialogue. I would change the dialogue. I would change the dialogue if I had to write it. And that's, but I loved what else she stood for.
yeah,
I absolutely loved the kind of her as a character. Like, I didn't think I appreciated it then again because I was so young, but upon reflection and hindsight, actually, she was a really good role model.
yeah. And do you know what? So, like, not to embarrass you, but so many of the questions have been about how much of a role model Jal was and how much love there is for you and for that character. So now you can talk about Shift.
Okay.
Yazui, have you planned to return to acting? We'd all like to see new projects from you. What's coming up? See, that would have been really nice if you hadn't already said what it was. But it's okay. It's
Sorry.
fine. It's okay.
So
can we please hear about how this started, what it is, where it's come from, and when we can see it?
It started while I was on parental leave from uni. I was like, be fun to do something.
As opposed to bringing up my child, as well as. That's just quite tough already, I'd imagine. But sure, let's just add another thing into the mix.
Yeah. And do you know what I think was nice is because my daughter was on my journey with me as well. It felt like, it was just the kind of, it literally started off as just something to kind of have for myself as well. And then and eventually along the way, there were so many different people that have been involved in the creative process. We did open casting in Elthorne Estate in Archway, and we had like 44 people come, and it's been such a learning process. But I think it just started as a few people and an idea, and then just over time, even I'm a little bit overwhelmed at like
the fact it's happening and people can see it.
So it's a thing. It's a film about mental health. Look at mental health within the Black community, and it was inspired by my own journey with my own mental health. But I thought it would be a nice, and I wanted to use, once having those skills from uni, it felt almost crazy to not use them. I was like, I got a first class degree. I must be all right at this. So I'm going to give this a go. And then, it's been beautiful. And there's been so many collaborators on the way. And it's currently, we're trying to do a film festival circuit because I have to go back and finish my master's, which I'm very excited about. But in terms of acting, I would like to one day. I think so.
Okay.
I get a bit shy about it, but I think I would. I think I'm getting I'm starting to feel differently.
So let me just dive into the writing your experience into another character. What was the process of that like? Did you have to like separate yourself on your thoughts from somebody else's experience? Like how, when it's something so specific like mental health, how did you project that into another character?
So I feel like, because it wasn't just another character, it was a male. And that was another thing I realised. I was like, wow, how am I ever going to write? I'm going to need a male around to help me with the creative process. But I think because I did psychology, it was part of our practice anyway, where we're trained to be objective. So it was actually for me combining everything that I was learning, which was being able to kind of, I'm so driven by emotion-led performances as well. And I think, yeah, just trying to remember that to be objective, and it's a feeling that I'm trying to translate. And it's not so much just yeah. So I think sorry, I'm just rambling now, but that's it. I'm trying to go for the psychology process. Yeah, I think it was a combination of that, and it was strange at times, but I felt so much more compassion, and I think being able to have more compassion for this other person it was happening to, mm-hmm. as opposed to me, yeah. or anyone else, it felt that yeah, there was something a bit easier, therapeutic almost about the journey. And we haven't finished it. So there's only going to be more emotions along the way. But yeah, that's, I don't know if that answers the question.
It definitely answers the question. I mean, it is fascinating, the thought about, and obviously I'm assuming this is something that you'll be talking about tomorrow as part of Medfest. But
carry on.
What is the what is the parallel between medicine and film? Go.
I mean,
so I was looking at the lineup of films, and obviously all of the films have medical storylines, or you know, use medical experiences as part of their narrative. Like, what is it? Is it to do with the actual process of making the film, or is it that when the viewer sees it and they connect to it, they have an experience?
For me personally, I think it's being able to create a visual representation of ourselves where we're related, or where it's relatable. So in the sense where, like, these are such issues, these aren't issues, these are concerns that people are having, and sometimes we can get so lost in trying to escape it that we end up kind of tailoring what we look at to match our idea, our perception of what it is we want to see. And it's medicine's way of trying to connect. I feel like personally for me, it's my way of trying to connect to everyone on a human kind of basis. We're all connected in the way that our bodies work, don't work. We all have the same life cycle. So I feel like when you start to combine science with people and where we are, and creating visual representations, we're creating a connectedness and a sense of community. And again, those topics, it creates a discussion.
And I suppose identity as a character, as you know, someone who identifies with what's happening on screen. And sometimes 100%. I mean, you know, obviously there is still an enormous fan base for a show like Skins, for example, and a lot of that is to do with people finding those characters and seeing themselves represented for the first time, truthfully, or as truthfully as possible, on a kind of global stage. So the power of it, of that kind of presentation, has been proven time and time again.
Yeah, and film can be political. Like, film is art, yeah. So 100% agree with everything you just said.
So I'm just gonna drop in a couple of Skins questions, because you've got to give the people what they want.
Yeah.
Charisma Baubles has asked you, did you actually play the clarinet in episodes of Skins?
Not live, but I did have to learn.
I remember you having to learn. Yeah.
I cut my gong so much, but yeah, they made me learn the songs. I had like a tutor, and yeah, I did that the whole way through up until when we did the episodes. And yeah.
So did you played it, there was like a concert at the end of series 1, right? But they just cut away to your fingers and that was somebody else. But you did, I remember you had to do like some quite, this is going to be a weird sentence, some quite intricate fingering at various points.
I did.
So you really did have to know what you needed to know your way around the clarinet, let's be honest.
Yes, I did. I had to learn the clarinet, and I tell you what, it was actually extremely hard. The breathing technique for the clarinet was insane. And I would have like my braces I'd have like cuts in my mouth and bleeding. it's very particular. But no, yeah, they made sure that I kind of got as close to being able to play the clarinet as, you know, humanly possible.
Could you play it now if I gave you one?
No, I don't think so. I
Imagine
would
if the
try though.
clarinet just came out the side of the picture.
I think maybe that's what gave me dimples, is the clarinet though.
I don't think so. I think you may have had those before.
Okay.
But cool, we'll go with that. Kinda_Warner, how did you feel about Giles Fashion?
That's an interesting question.
Now listen, I remember you really loving your socks. If you start banging on your socks, you loved them. You'd asked for them. You asked for them every time, and they gave them to you. Sometimes more than one pair at the same time.
Yeah, do you know what? I think I would have liked more, like, it was okay, but it wasn't what I personally felt like I would have picked all the time. But I think it was just an adjustment again. I've gone from being in school uniform and now I'm in all sorts of different kind of clothes. I'm just used to the one turquoise jumper from school. So I wasn't wild about it, I'll be honest, but there were times where I felt like that, for instance, when I dressed up in that sexy scene, I didn't know I could look like that. I cried. I remember crying in the makeup trailer because I was like, oh my God, it's a pet and it's capable. And then,
I'm so pretty.
Yeah, I did. I cried because I was so pretty. And there were real moments where it did. But yeah, on a day-to-day, I wanted the like comfortable clothes to be a bit more comfortable.
I mean, you're preaching to the choir. Like, I was dressed like a Christmas tree for most of it, so you don't, you forget.
We got always cold, but I always moaned about being cold. But you were like, yeah.
You had, I mean, you at least had some clothes on. So yeah. Let's be honest. Also, do you remember in series 2 we got sent some stuff from Nike, and we were all like, oh yes, we've got some Nike stuff. And then out came this silver pair of trainers, and they were like, April, these are yours. And I had silver Nike trainers.
It's early 2000, baby.
Listen, they're probably back in now for all I know. Like, I would look the coolest now.
Vintage.
Oh God, don't. Lynn, oh, this is a tricky one. Lynn's Gamalski. Oh. Which scene was the hardest to shoot, and which scene was the most fun? Oh my God, I just can't remember it, honestly. If someone said that,
I just remember that the college green scenes always felt long.
Also, we were sat on the mud. Do you remember?
Like, they were the least fun. That was the least fun. That was the hardest. Yeah, but there were loads of fun.
Also, it's because we were all actually. There's one scene I remember when we were all sat around the table. I think it was series 2, and because we only had 2 cameras and we had like 8 actors, we had to do it so many times. And it was when Joe had to eat a plate of spaghetti bolognese with like custard on it or something. And in the scene, he has to eat it like it's the nicest food in the world. And it was just like warm, hot, like, just warm food that had been there for about 7 hours.
Yeah, this food. Yeah, the smell of staleness. My favorite scene to shoot was when we went into the sea. When we ran into the sea, I hated it at the start.
No, I didn't get to do that.
With each other. Oh, did you not?
No, I had to go on my own, which was actually really traumatic. And I also, do you remember how shallow it was? No, I had to have a separate bit. I did a separate thing at sunrise.
I remember.
So I watched you all like diving off naked into the sunset. Yeah, but the best thing about it was that it was so shallow that you just kept going, and you didn't actually get under the water for it must have been about 4 minutes of just like running through, and you're literally about ankles deep for about a mile out. It was in Wales, wasn't it?
It was somewhere in Wales, yes.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, it wasn't good when it came to me doing it, and I was like, I need to get under the water to hide my body, and they just wouldn't.
I think just that moment of being in the water naked, I'm just being very hippie about it. It was that moment that actually, the rest of it I didn't enjoy, but that I did not. But that moment in the water when we finally got in, I was like, oh, this is really relaxing.
Yeah, and it looks amazing as well. Some of that stuff is the most beautiful looking.
Yeah.
because it's just like gorgeous big scenery. Chloe Wells, what's your favourite Skins episode?
Chris's.
Which series?
Second.
Mm.
When he's working in a job.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I didn't realize. Yeah, that was amazing. That was my favorite. Yeah.
All of his stuff is my favourite.
I know. Demp's is a G.
Sparky Cherry, I think you've talked about your Skins audition a few times, but if you can be bothered to reiterate it, how was your Skins audition?
So, I was working at New Look, the job I spoke about earlier.
Yeah. A hard graft of 4 hours a day.
It really was, right? So, my friend, I was on a lunch break. My friend went to go to the auditions. We went down to Oceana, and then we did the audition. They asked me to stay behind, but I said no because I'm on my lunch break at New Look, and they give me 50% discount. So, and then I left. And then I remember
Can you imagine though? I bet at that point they were like, "That's her," because as we were talking about before, she's a girl. She's like, "No, I'm not coming back. I'm going to my job. Thanks. See you later."
Yeah, so true. Yeah. Because then I came back to this. I remember the Redlands one, but that was my initial audition. But yeah, that was the audition. That was my first audition. Yeah, I remember it. I remember how it smelled. It's horrible. It's not harmful now.
What? So it was in Oceana during the daytime?
Yeah. So it was like the night after a rave, and they hadn't bothered to clear up, and it was just smelled. I remember waiting, being like, "Oh my god, it's better be worth it."
Yeah, I mean, and also don't forget that was back in the days when you could smoke in the club. So that was when like everything could be masked by that old cigarette smell. Whereas now, you don't want to be smelling that stuff. Okay, Evan C.S. What do you think about the ship of Chris and Jal? So the ship is two characters together. I think someone might have to actually help me because this is like maybe, I don't know. I think it's like young people speak.
I know. I'm about to say we are
a bit old, but I think it.
Can someone explain?
I think
it's an abbreviation. It sounds like a cool thing, like ship.
Yeah, but also I've seen people talk about like the shipping members of like One Direction and stuff.
Yeah, someone said yeah.
Best
correct.
Skin.
Right,
okay.
So the ship. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. We got
Thanks,
it.
guys.
Okay.
We just get out our walking sticks.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I loved their relationship.
Me too.
I did love it. Yeah, because it was just. And I remember that I think it was the fans that actually had a massive influence on the storyline of them getting together, because it was the people that picked up on all the kind of subtle intricacies.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you say it?
Intricacies. It's a weird one,
that is. So yeah, and it was that. So I loved it because it felt like it was like our relationship.
Yeah, it was lovely, and it was also like it was just kind of unexpected, and
that was what was so nice about the unexpectedness.
Yeah,
they
were so freaking cute. Like, yeah, a lot of the fandom is kicking off about Jal and Chris. Possibly a weird one, but we're going to go with it. Chelsea Luann, now that Larissa is a mother herself, does she connect differently with Jal's story?
Oh, of course, because Jal had determination. Oh, yeah, definitely. I think you do, because I remember at the time when they asked me, like, because Jal gets pregnant. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Does she keep it or have determination? I remember going.
Larissa, stop doing the impression.
Okay. So true. Okay. Yeah, and then I went, I don't know, because I didn't know.
No, of course not.
I'd never been in that situation. So it was, but now having, of course, like just that maternal love is unreal. And I imagine that Jal would always have been a great mother. It was never about her ability. It was just so many other factors. And that's always sad.
I think there is, again, a lot of conversation and debate about the kind of depiction of a teenage pregnancy, and how so many people, again, an outpouring of love for how, and that amazing scene where me and you, I mean, it's an amazing scene, but I remember us not enjoying actually filming it, where we're under the bed sheet and I'm behind you and you tell me for the first time. That's translated really beautifully on screen, and I'm so glad that it has done. Again, it was one of those where it was really hot. It was me, you, and I can't remember, was it Nick Dance under the bed sheets? And we had like light shining in. It was very tricky, but it's one of those things where I think it's got like a lasting effect, that kind of scene, again, where you're showing a young person dealing with something that's massive for the first time on screen. And of course, yes, now you're a mother, there'll be different feelings there, but I think it's definitely something that's connected with so many people that you and all of us should be proud that that storyline made it onto screen.
Yeah.
Cynthia Leduc, what's your best memory from Skins?
I just think just being able to work with each other. I loved, even no matter what was going on and no matter how much we were annoyed by everything around us, when we came to work, it felt like we could just be ourselves with each other. Like, even if, and it just, I never felt like I had to be anything until they said action, and I was like, God. But up until then, we just got to hang out. It just felt like it almost felt like it was just a nice feeling whenever I got to see everyone. I think my best memory was just like coming into work, and all of when we used to do you remember all the pictures where we used to fall asleep in the trailer? We were always just on one.
It was always after lunch. Always after lunch. And we'd all just fall asleep. Although that was usually because we'd been out for a long time the night before.
Exactly, stuff like that. So
like I obviously, you used to come into work at the same time as me, and I had my head upside down in a diffuser, like a hair diffuser, and I was basically trying not to be sick on the floor, to the point where I remember my dad phoned up once and was like, do you really need to have her in this early? Like, it's like a 2-hour hair call, this is crazy. And they were like, yeah, okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Pearson, no, okay, fine, we'll call her a bit later. I was like, yes, victory. So someone's talking about Sparkle Mysteries.
Okay, yes.
Sparky Cherry, do you prefer acting in children's or adult TV? I think I'm sure there's, well, you can answer it. You've acted in Skids, obviously, which is an adult TV show, and you've also acted in Sparkle Mysteries, which is a TV show, a children's TV show. Thanks for explaining that.
Yeah, it was it was on the BBC. No, was it? Yeah. I like that, but I prefer adults, I think. But now that I have a daughter, I would, the idea of being in something kid related is definitely appealing. But in general, I think I'll be drawn to kind of adult style acting.
Yeah. Well, that would be mad for her, actually, wouldn't it? To be like, what? How are you there and here? That's crazy. Would you let her watch Skins?
When she's older. Like, when she's a lot older.
As like a kind of, here's mummy doing this thing that she did in the noughties, or as like here's some educating about how to be a teenager?
No, more like someone's told her I was in Skins, and she's been like, Mom, I heard your TV show, can I see it? And I'll be like, when you're 21.
Yes. I mean, the thing is, people aren't watching it when they're 21, they're watching it when they're like 13, so that's fine.
Thank you. It's so true. Some of the people who've come up to me have been like, aren't you like 10? So yeah, you're right.
I think what's weird as well is, like, I mean, I was talking to Georgie about this last week. It's weird that in people's minds, you are 19, maybe 17, in fact, like 17, 18, 19.
Someone said when they were 10. That's what I mean. That is wild to say.
Wow, I watched Skins at 15 for the first time. Now I'm 19. But like, that's now. Like, that person is 19 now and still finding it. Like, it's still a thing. Obviously, maybe you haven't watched it for God knows how long, and you're just connecting with people now about the show and like in a public way. I mean, but people love this.
They do.
They love you.
They love
What shift?
Shift.
Wait.
It's a psychological urge looking at mental health in the Black community.
So where you said you're still finishing it? Where can people actually watch it?
Currently, you can't unless you go to a film festival. No, so at the moment, what I've shot is like a teaser for it, and I am going back to finish my master's in neuroscience.
Yeah.
I started back in January, so I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to learn some more. And
what does that mean though? What, like, of a day? Is that like just you in the quiet room? Head down.
What, King's? Oh
yeah.
Oh no. You need to make alliances at King's. It's like Hogwarts. It's like,
what do you mean?
It's just insane. I held a human brain on my second week at King's.
What? Why?
Yeah, I had to go like on our second week there, they took us to the brain bank.
The brain bank?
Yeah, we have brain banks. But that's to look at health, to do comparisons to brains. But yeah, we went down and they told us to put our gloves on. They said, do you want to hold the brain or not? And I literally was like, yeah, I held a hemisphere. So just like the right hemisphere. And then one chopped up.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to sleep after. I was pretty overwhelmed.
Oh my God. And so you have to do that to, oh God,
no, like the kind of neuroscience that I'm into is more looking at kind of our wiring, our neural network, and how I'm really into how we can undo and help with our own wiring, creating new pathways.
Because that is actually a science thing, isn't it? Like that is actual, like neurons grow towards each other and you literally grow thoughts.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you can, basically you can learn a new skill after if you were to start a new habit and just kind of do it for 8 weeks repeatedly. Eventually your brain will start creating pathways and being like, and it'll become part of your network of things that you do. And those old habits, the less you kind of draw on them, that's when they start to taper off. So I'm imagining that's why they say 8 weeks if you stop smoking. I don't know that for sure, but because I don't actually smoke cigarettes, but yeah, I can imagine that's why they're saying, because you start after 8 weeks or 12 weeks, your brain starts to pick up the new pathways and get rid of the old ones.
So what was it that you wanted to go back into learning again after you'd got your honours degree?
Oh no, that was, yeah. So I think I was open to the idea, but then I just kind of fell in love with the brain, which was a bit like I kind of, and it felt like at that time it just felt like there was nothing. It just felt like the right thing to do, and I didn't know what neuroscience was until I saw it as the mass broken down all of the things that I loved, and I was like, I want a degree that looks at this, and it was neuroscience. And some people were like, are you sure that's what you want to do? And I was like, I like it.
Oh my God.
And then I got it. I was like, whoa. Yeah.
Here's a brain. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you've said a lot that knowledge is power, and I think it sounds like you're going to be learning really kind of forever now. It feels like that to you is kind of part of feeling like a strong person, and having knowledge and gaining new skills is something that's is only going to help you, and certainly in your creative writing and your producing and directing work. Like the only way to learn is to do it, right?
Yeah. And it's just to take risks. I think it was just a lot of it is as well. It was just tuning into what made me feel good and what, rewarded me in the ways that I liked, because it's so easy to invest yourself into just anything. And this is where I guess like we can have, things that are negative that we also kind of put ourselves into. So, and I definitely had some old habits that I was like, I wonder what if I put that same amount of into try something else, and just trying once and someone being willing to help, because it takes two. Like you can't do it on your own. It took for someone to believe in me for me to believe in myself.
Yeah.
It kind of was like, I just never stopped asking what if, and I think that's the kind of thing.
I also think I have specific moment when I asked what if to myself, and the answer to stay in the situation that I was in was more terrifying than getting out of that and doing something completely out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I think when you've asked yourself that question and that's the answer, you have to just go and try and take the risk.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 100%, because there's nothing to lose. You actually have nothing to lose. And when you're
Exactly.
there, yeah. And I'm glad I did.
That's so cool. I can't believe that, like, I mean, well, obviously film festivals and all of that stuff is a little bit up in the air at the minute in terms of actually being able to attend them.
I'm like making this up as I go along because I've never done this before. So at the moment, I'm having a meltdown about Shift. It's done really well.
But also, we're like, the response you're getting is incredible, and I think you've just got to try and focus on that, because like I'm also in post-production on 2 features that I have no idea how we're going to get them to market, how we're going to get people to see them, and then you're like, well, I've made this thing and no one can watch it, so what's the point in that?
Right now, I know what I would love is a producer. That's what I need. I'm looking for. The point that we're at is we're going to be screened in Medfest. I'm so excited about tomorrow. And then I'm going to be like, hey, producers, hey. And that's my plan.
Great. I think that's a great plan.
I love the fact that you asked me where people can watch it. And I literally I'm like, don't know.
But the thing is, people must be asking you that. Like, people must be saying, like, loads of people in the chat have been like, Shift is here. It's here. Is it here? But not.
It's on its way.
Yeah, but it's on its way. It's on its way. That's better than not being anywhere at all. I'm just going to check this because I've realised I'm running out of time. Melissa Gomez, just quickly, another Skins one. Were you content with the ending of series 2 of Skins? Did you wish it would have ended differently? Remind me how it ended.
Yeah, no, I was about to.
Oh, we all did our own thing, didn't we? We sat around that fire and we all opened our exam results, and like, what did Joel end up doing?
Clarinet.
Was it? Someone's going to tell us in a minute. Don't you worry. What did Joel do at the end of it?
Joel do. No, I feel like if I had a problem with it, I would have fought. No, I think it. I
totally agree.
Lesson in disguise that ending after 2 years was, as well, just the way that it was all constructed. Oh, Krista. Oh, yeah, I remember him dying. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
She had to go and do her after that. That was
that's my favorite. If someone asked me, I think I went to uni and.
Good choice.
Yeah. Well, that's clearly not in my personal life yet. Am I right? Exactly. I think she did nothing. Ruby Bristow, thanks. I think she did nothing. Yes, I think after 2 years, sometimes you could just be flogging a dead horse, and I think actually refreshing it and having some like new people come in and take the reins was the right thing to do. So.
Oh my God, the last thing was speaking to Chris's dad. I just saw someone say.
Oh. Also, someone's just asked you if anyone can join the Zoom session for Medfest.
Yes,
please tell me you know the answer to this.
And there's a link. And by the way, I was just thinking at the same time, all that I'm saying about Shift, follow at Shift the movie, and that's all you have updates of our journey.
Well done.
And your journey. You're going to be basically seeing me do this. I don't know what's happening tomorrow. You know?
Well, at least we all know. At least if you want some like not quite information, follow at the Shift movie.
If you just want to see my face, then yeah.
Is it the Shift or just Shift movie?
It's at Shift the movie.
Shift the movie.
So I often repost it on Larissa Hope. So it will have the updates again of Medfest. There's going to be updates of an interview I'm going to drop next week, all at Shift the movie. So you can find all the stuff related to Shift and our progress.
Someone's just dropped it in the chat. Was that you, or maybe someone's listening?
Hey, there we go.
There it is, everyone. Boom.
There we go. That's
Larissa's new project. The next thing you'll be able to see that she's created from her own brain, but not the one that she held in university.
Not that one.
That's the one. Check it out. Definitely check it out. Amazing work. I'm gonna have to wrap it up because I won't be able to save it otherwise. But thank you so much for coming on my show. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's been so nice to see you. And good luck. Good luck tomorrow night.
And I mean, on the silk.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. And the curly hair. Lots of people have been talking about curly girls, so that's good.
Thank you.
And yes, I'll be there tomorrow night watching Medfest.
Oh, you're gonna be there.
I've
Oh.
signed up. I've got my Zoom link, and I can't wait. I mean, yeah, it's going to be so interesting. I'm so interested. I can't believe that, you know, I've got to speak to someone who's studying a master's. You're going to be a master of neuroscience, and it's going to be so cool. I know her.
Excited. Excited. Feel like
Oh,
real life Jal now. But yeah,
yes,
it's been lovely. Thank you so much for having me.
you're very, very welcome, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye,
Yes.
Larissa. Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Oh God, how special was that? So, I've got a couple of minutes to tell you about what's coming up next week. Thank you so much to Larissa. Definitely check out her film Shift. I have had a little a sneaky peek of it, and it's just incredible. And the interview she's talking about, she's going to drop next week, is a real insight to kind of what drove her to create such an amazing piece. So definitely check that out. Next week's guest is a musician, everyone, and his band literally got me through my teenage years. So I'm going to really have to try and do everything in my power not to lose my shit with this one. Yeah, this series is becoming something that I am incredibly proud of, and thank you all for watching me every week. If you've been wondering what my lipstick is, which some people have, it's an NYX matte lipstick called Temptress. I think it's just called Seductress in French. So there you go. It's a nice cheap one. As always, I will be announcing my guest on Friday, and make sure you put some questions to him in my grid post, and I will see you next Monday. If you're in the UK, I hope that you get through the first week of lockdown. We're all in this together. We're in the same storm in our own boats. So just row your boat your own way. And hopefully we'll be able to get out of it within a month. Good luck, everyone in America tomorrow. And see you next week. Bye.